Dave Penyuk here of revenue.com and lifeasrealestateinvestors.com, and I'm here today to get serious. And I am really serious, even though I'm smiling, about investments and your investments. And what are you doing with your investments? What are you doing with your hard-earned money that you work so hard every week and you put it to the side and you invest for your retirement, for your family? What are you doing with that money? How is it performing? Are you getting the returns you want? What are the returns you're getting, for crying out loud? So many people I've talked to in the last 2 to 3 months, I've talked to friends, family, joint venture partners, associates, very successful business people, you name it. I've talked to a whole bunch of people and I've asked them, how are your investments doing? What are you investing in these days? How are things going for you? And nobody seems to know how they're doing. It's almost like nobody seems to care. Why don't you care about your investments? Why don't you care about your retirement? People tell you they do, and then when they lose 40% on their investments in a year because the market crashes and they weren't in proper stocks or mutual funds or real estate, whatever, they complain that they lost all their money, and rightly so. But when you don't pay attention to how your investments are doing, do you really have the right to complain? I mean, I suppose I could get in an argument with somebody about this, but really, if you're not taking an hour every 3 months to go over your portfolio and see how you're doing, talking to your financial advisor, if you're investing yourself and just spending an hour every few months to look at your investments and making sure that they're doing what you want them to do, if you're not taking that little bit of time to pay attention, you shouldn't really be complaining if you lose a bunch of money on the market because you've handed that over to somebody and you haven't paid attention to how you're doing. You can see I'm getting a little uppity about this because it really frustrates me and it concerns me more than anything that my friends and family and associates and joint venture partners that we invest in real estate together, they don't seem to know how their investments are doing. They hand their money over, they work super hard, they hand it over to somebody, a financial advisor, I use that term sometimes loosely, and then they don't pay attention to it. They look at their quarterly or biannual statement, look at it, and oh, okay, that's about where I was 2 years ago. Well, I guess I'm getting back to where I was, and that's all they know. I talked to a good friend of mine who's a very successful businessman, and he's raising a family, he's mid-30s like I am, and I asked him, how are you doing? And he said, well, you know, I think I'm back to where I was before the crash. Okay, well, that's good, I suppose. Well, what are you investing in? He said, you know, I don't really know. I just don't pay attention to that. I give it to my financial advisor, and you know, I'll just, when I'm getting close to retirement, then I'll pay attention to it. And I sit there and I think, when you get closer to retirement, your money could be gone by then. If you don't keep contributing, your advisor will probably have put it into a bunch of things and you'll lose it all, and then oh man, now it's time. I'm retiring next year and my nest egg is smaller than it was 20 years ago. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but that's the nutshell. These individuals that work very hard to support their family and put this money aside, they just don't seem to care, or they don't just take the time. And when you ask them, well, why don't you just take a few minutes to look at it? I don't have time, you know, I'll look at it later. But you'll spend 3 hours researching what TV to buy or what vacuum cleaner to buy or where to go clothes shopping. You'll spend 3 hours doing that, but you won't spend an hour with your financial advisor once every 3 months. So time is not a real excuse, and I just want to know why people don't seem to care about their money. You talk to them like they do, but then when you actually ask them their actions, what are you doing about it, they don't know. They don't even know what their investments are. I met with some joint venture partners of ours just a little while ago, and I asked them how are their investments doing. I told them, of course, how our investment in real estate is doing because they're JV partners, and I'm always updating them on how things are going. So they know from me at least. But I asked them on their through their financial advisor, through their bank, how they're doing. They showed me their portfolio, and they had about 50 different mutual funds, for crying out loud. And it's not even a huge portfolio. It's decent size, but it's not like millions and millions of dollars. And even if it is, why do you have 50 mutual funds? It makes no sense to me. And he asked them, well, why do you have so many mutual funds? I don't know. That's what our financial advisor told us. Well, gee, I wonder if that financial advisor is making money every time they sell you that particular mutual fund or trade it, sell one and buy another one. I can almost guarantee they're making money on it, especially because it's not a fee-based financial planner. So my point of this rant is, you really, if you care about your money, and I'm sure you do, take some time to talk to your advisor. Find out why they're investing in certain things, and find out how you're doing. What's your net return over the last 6 months? And I say net return because there's always fees wrapped into everything. What's their net return? If you need to cash out, what's your net return going to be? How much cash are you going to get out of that? Or even if you leave it within your RSP, what is that net amount going to be after they take off their fees? If it's a mutual fund or there's a trading fee or whatever it is, what's that net return? So take some time. Put aside an hour every 3 months to look at your portfolio. Make sure you're maximizing it. This is your hard-earned money. This is what you're supposed to be retiring on. Don't be like one of my friends, another person that I met and I talked to. He's a buddy of mine, successful guy again, and I asked him how he was doing. He said, I started adding up the amount of contributions I've made to my RRSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan here in Canada. And he said, I added up over the last 15 years and I basically have the same amount of money that I've contributed in that account. In other words, he's basically got no return above the money that he's contributed. I'm just, how does that happen? Anyways, I really urge you to comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If this is an individual that I'm talking about, either a specific example or just you have the same situation with yourself, let me know. Why do you do that? Is it time? Is it you just don't understand it? If you don't understand it, maybe you need to simplify your portfolio. Invest in some things that are more simple to understand, and concrete and tangible. That's why I don't invest in mutual funds, because I don't understand them. There's so many of them. Anyways, I don't want to get into it. But that's why I invest in real estate, because it's tangible. It makes sense. You go knock on the door. There's the house right there. You can talk to a real estate agent and get a good appraisal and find out what the thing's worth. And you can look at your mortgage balance and see how much equity you have there, net worth in there. And you can look at your cash flow each month, how much rent is coming in, how many expenses are going out. It's pretty easy to track that stuff. I do it all the time. I love it. It's easy. It's simple. Call me simple-minded, but it's easy. I love it. Anyhow, please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But take some time. This is your money. This is your investment. This is your retirement. I look forward to hearing from you. Dave Penyuk, revenue.com. Nice revenue t-shirt. Playoff beard for my Vancouver Canucks. We're in round 2. Go Canucks, go. Talk to you next time.